welcome to episode 31 of the Family Based Podcast. My name's Jake.
And I am Dallas.
And we do not have Ben. In fairness, I did explain what we would be talking about, and then the internet went down. So
coincidence?
I think not.
Dang.
Alright, so this episode is called We Get Controversial for a Reason. In previous episodes, outside of baseball, there's been a lot of stuff happening, or kind of connected to baseball in some ways. But we're going to have some time to talk about what our opinions are on these controversial topics or things that have been in the news as of late. And these are just some of them. They're not all of them. In the future, we will talk about these things as soon as they happen, whenever we record next. So this is honestly let's catch up on some of the issues that passed by. So the first one is the Tampa Bay Rays had a Pride Night. Only two Major League Baseball clubs have a Pride Night every year in June. The Rays and I believe it's the Dodgers. I'd be surprised if
San Diego,
that's what I know of. Maybe I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. So, the Tampa Bay Rays had a Pride Night in June, and a couple players. People found out that a couple players didn't wear the Pride jerseys or hats or uniforms or anything like that. One pitcher came into the game that wasn't wearing it. But later on, after the game was over, people noticed that I think it was 4 or 5 Rays players chose to not wear and the logo and uniforms and all that stuff included. So, Dallas, I want to hear what you have to say. As a baseball player who represents the organization and the community and the fans, do players necessarily have an obligation, or do they have any sort of responsibility to wear these things, or is there a gray area in this conversation? What do you think?
It's only because of the country that it's taking place in that some would argue there's a gray area. Now, on one hand, freedom of speech, beautiful right, God-given right. But when it comes down to it, man, like, look, say you work for McDonald's, they have a uniform, you have to wear it. Whatever they determine the uniform be, they're Jimmy John's. It's almost a lot of businesses will have a uniform. It is very apparent that sports teams also have uniforms. So, you are getting paid by a private organization, not, government or church related. So, typically. So, like, if they tell you that you have to wear a uniform, I believe that if you want to work that day, you have to wear the uniform. I say that also understanding that in America, like, you have your freedom of expression. So whether you want to stand or kneel for national anthem, or if you want to speak your piece when you're interviewed, it's welcomed, and at least it should be welcomed. It should be welcomed for people to speak their piece, and and I say that, but this is like it's their paid time on the clock. Like, I think they should have worn the uniform. It wasn't meant to discriminate against anybody, and if anything, this is a more inclusive. It's just honoring inclusivity and letting people know that they're valued. I don't think it's meant to oppress your belief of religion or certain scriptures within that said religion. But because other people that practice that same said religion would argue differently. So I think that as a member of the organization, wear the uniform. You're paid to do that, and yeah, because the other shows of personal beliefs haven't like changed uniform. Actually, as a matter of fact, like I got on top of Chris Sale for not wearing or like causing a hissy fit and cutting up his team uniforms because he didn't want to wear what the organization said to wear. So like I'm pretty sure I'm pretty consistent on the board here. Wear the uniform, bro. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, so the reason I would say there's a gray area is because I believe there's a nuance to the conversation. And I'll be very upfront with all these topics is that I am a Christian and I understand the conversation and the emotions and the perspectives um, that have come out from the players who decide not to. I understand it. I don't fully. I can't say I understand because I'm not a part of the community that is affected by this, so I can't say I understand what they feel. But I'm obviously, as a citizen, as a human being, trying to listen, understand everything that's going on. So the one thing I would say is that the reason why it's nuanced is because the private organization, as you pointed out, was uh, did not mandate or did not have this as a requirement. This was a private organization that was obviously celebrating a Pride Night, but the big thing is that when they had this conversation, these players did not come out before or during the game and talk about it, did not come out before or during the game and make show of it or, address it when the spotlight is brightest. The conversation came from afterwards. So what I can understand and sort of appreciate is that the choice was not made to be like to be that spark, to be that kind of like, I'm going to defy this, thing. It was just like they were given the option of wearing it. Majority of players did, some didn't, and they responded when they were questioned. And I thought the conversation is nuanced. Do I believe every person of any religion that has any sort of difference of view on this particular topic would agree on the same thing? No, that there's the diversity of belief within every major religion. I'll say that, but I can understand it. Um, do I agree? It depends. I'm not in that position, so I'm not gonna say what I would do or not outside of I think since this incident, conversation has been cordial and has been open, and they've talked about it on both sides, or both sides, um, both perspectives. So I don't think it was. I don't think it was wrong. I think it was a choice that, um, based on their beliefs, led them down the path of having to respond when being questioned. So that's why it's nuanced to me.
I get that. Like, and since you said the organization gave them the choice, was unbeknownst to me, as you can tell by
Yeah.
my response. But yeah, I mean, you know what? Like, if they were given the choice, I didn't know that. I thought they were breaking like directive from
Oh no.
management.
Yeah. No.
So I
No.
mean,
So
if
yeah. So obviously everyone knew it was Pride Night.
right, of course.
And
So
whatnot. they had the option, and apparently they talked about it before the game and after the game as a team,
Sure.
and talked about why
I guess
this occurred.
my question then what is the question? Like, do I agree with them not wearing it and like speaking out for themselves, or because I thought the whole question was like, what's my take on them breaking uniform? Pretty much is what I thought it was. Like, if the question is me, like, do you agree with their personal standpoints? Then like that's a different question entirely. But
Right.
like, if we're talking about because it was an optional like token to wear, like to show support, I can't say that I agree with them personally for not wearing it because
Right.
it doesn't affect like them as a
Right.
personal like very c'est la vie, you know, like
Yeah.
uh, there are some people that believe certain things and practice certain different lifestyles like that not everyone's
Yeah.
going to agree with, and vice versa, you know, like so
Yeah. So I think the question maybe was a little too broad, and maybe we can talk about this in another bonus episode. And
bonus
really not.
subsets.
Yeah, and we can talk about this definitely more because again, I do believe that this is why we didn't talk about it at the time.
It's hard, yeah.
It just came out the
Branches out.
information, and in all honesty, I'm not even sure if we still fully know everything that happened. But I think now enough time has passed that we can record a bonus episode
Right.
just kind of reflecting even more so and
Cool.
looking into it, researching. So
Cool.
let's move on, not because it's concluded but just for time.
Yeah.
We're already way over.
I know. Sorry,
Let's
guys.
move on to the second one,
Cool.
and that is the another big current news topic was that Roe v. Wade was overturned,
It's
and
big.
that is not baseball related
It's
uh
not.
in any way, but it is current news. So based on that, it's a hard question, but I would just say it as what's your take on it? And it's big, but try to be say what you believe on it, but
Yeah.
like
No,
yeah,
I'll be quick, man. Again, it's um I don't believe that it's not an argument of I'm going to sound like I'm not answering the question, and then I'll bring it in and it'll make sense.
right, right,
It's not a question of states' rights when it comes to Roe v. Wade, because as soon as the decision was made to overturn it, about a little over half the country, like those states, were automatically set into motion to
yeah,
outlaw it. So the notion that it's proposed that it comes down to states' rights, it's almost like comparing, or it's that's the answer that some people today explain why the Civil War started.
yeah,
And to
but
me, both are ludicrous. Of course, the Civil War wasn't started over states' rights, and of course, this wasn't overturned to give power back to the states. Both Tom fucking foolery. So, if you like, it's strictly what comes down to it: a separation of church and state, and providing legal, safe means to women for aborting what a lot of people consider a life. And I think that's really what the whole question comes down to: is
yeah,
when does life force begin? Right at
right,
conception, at an infant's heart rate. Heart develops 21 days. Um, so is that when you do it? Is it when the brain is developed? Like, so that's what it comes down to. And if you're asking for
yeah,
my opinion, I don't think it should have came up at all. None of this is any of the government's business.
Mm.
So it should be legal, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, so I think my take is I have a personal take, and I know what the country believes. So, as a country, the vast majority of people believe that it should be legal, but there should be limitations, and there should be like a 20 week like maximum time is what the country believes on, a majority of the country. I personally, I'm very upfront about this. I believe, so you have to listen to the full thing I'll say. I believe that Roe v. Wade as a law and as a practice should have been overturned if and that's a big if there were healthcare and other services provided before it was overturned to help provide for the mother, the child, communities, and the ability to thrive as a family. If that is pro-life,
Yeah,
then it should be given the
right.
chance of
Sure. Wait.
not just incentivizing but loving families.
Sure.
So it's like, yes, it should be if this happens, but this won't happen.
Right.
So no. So I disagree with the timing for sure, because the other factors that could have really been if you want to say pro life, we want to be pro life from the womb to the tomb,
Sure.
and that's not really what that was.
Right.
So, in
Yeah.
this sense, I'm on the yes, but no.
See, no, I see. I know and appreciate what you're saying, because at least you're acknowledging the fact that, like, it's yeah, the pro-life argument, right? So you're pro-life, but you're also very cool with guns being out there and shit,
Yeah, I
killing
mean,
those that were just born. So it's like, what the fuck? Like, where are you gonna draw the line, bro? So also,
right,
like, prenatal care, contraceptives. That's also a huge gray area in religious
right,
sects, but also
right.
contraceptives are widely practiced, albeit condoms, abstinence
Di-
form contraception, blah blah blah.
different, different avenues of contraception for sure.
100%. So it's like, but yeah, I mean, while I do not agree that abortion shouldn't take place if need be, especially with medical issues, but
Right.
um, because I'm happy you brought up the post birth though, because it's hard to agree with somebody that says pro-life and then they're like, as soon as they're out, it's like, well, we don't want a welfare state. So it's like, oh, that's interesting, because I'm pretty sure an abortion would cost all of us to communally pay for a lot cheaper than raising a fucking human being, which with today's inflation rates might be $1 trillion for all I know. So it's like, it's actually cheaper and more fiscally responsible to support abortion, but you don't
Yes.
want big government oversight. So it's like,
Yeah, and again, with another topic that I want to get to, I will say this is that um the gosh, I'm losing it. Of course, I as I did the caveat, I lost it. Um yeah, I the oh, this is what I was going to say. Thank you. All right, uh so the major issue that I would even have on top of this being overturned as it is, I'm not opposed to being overturned if it's a lot of ifs, and I feel like
too much there.
the ifs are actually pro life. But what I'm saying is like the uh the major issue is that this has been a culture war issue for like 40 years.
Yeah, about
And
as soon as it passed
really the Supreme Court has been chosen in this way for 40 years
to do
to
this.
win this culture war and the next like however many. So if you want to win a culture war, you're gonna win the culture war, but you're gonna make it a lot worse in a lot of other areas that you don't care about because this has been the issue, and the issue should be about America, and just people thriving
Sure.
as human beings.
Right.
And this policy and it being overturned is the opposite of that. And the yeah, as you said, over half the almost half the states, or over half the states, going even further is like even less pro life,
Sure.
and it just so
Well,
I have a major issue with it.
did you read the story that's just been put out there about the 10-year-old in Ohio?
Yeah,
Yeah. So, I mean, apparently, this is what happened. This is just me reporting the news to you. Is
yeah,
that a 10-year-old was a victim of a rape and became
right.
pregnant. So the family wants to take them to Indiana, or to take her to Indiana to get the abortion. And Ohio is looking to indict the child. The child, bro. Like the 10-year-old of not having the baby, bro. It's just things like that. It just seems, and again, just reporting what I've read.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I'm as you know, but as people who are watching, my facial expression can't. It's very hard to keep maintained. So it just if and I say this because I'm saying that story or whatever. If that story's true, it just terrible all the way around. We'll say
sure.
that.
Horrible.
Um, yeah. So my opinion is yes and no,
Right.
and whatever's happening in the next however many years, it's it's not Christian. So I'll
Different.
kind of I want to leave it as that
Yeah,
to being like
believe that. Leave
let's
that where
yeah.
it is.
So, last thing, real quick, is the Boston Red Sox. Three players weren't allowed to travel to Toronto to play the Blue Jays because they're unvaxxed. Canada doesn't allow you in the country, let alone play a baseball game if you are unvaxxed. What's your take on that? Should that even be a consideration for the MLB? Should they make an exception for the for baseball for sports, or is this law a good thing and responsible?
No, I think what Canada is doing is in its interest for its population. So the science speaks for itself. Vaccinations help. Unpopular opinion amongst some circles, but that's just science. If you choose not to listen to science, that is your own prerogative, and do not affect those that do. So, uh, this is also a nation's policy, and
Right.
this business operates within that nation. So even if you're just going like governmentally speaking, politically speaking,
Yeah.
listen to the nation's laws. So if you do not agree with it personally and you do not want to do it, then you cannot go there. Fine, live with that.
Yeah.
Live with the choices of your adult action. Okay, or
Yeah.
live with the consequences of your adult action. Like this is I do believe in individual liberties, as I'm sure most of us do, but I also
Right.
believe in doing things um, for the public and general well-being. I believe in living slightly selfishly, which also isn't the most American thought point, but take care of those around you. So yeah, that's my answer. A
Yeah.
long spiel.
I'll make it short and sweet by saying I think it's a good law.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Immunocompromised individual who uh, could be affected greatly by this and has been for the duration of this. I think it's a good law. We'll just stick with that.
Yeah,
All
simply
right.
put, it's good.
Yeah. And you know what? You may disagree, and that's fine.
But you're wrong.
No, but this is our show, and if you disagree, comment or DM or whatever you want, and tell us that we're wrong, and
we'd love to
we
have a
can
conversation.
have it. We can have a dialogue. I don't mind on any of these issues. I'm serious. Like, tell me I'm wrong about Pride Night. Tell me I'm wrong about abortion. Tell me I'm wrong about vaccines. Tell me.
Yeah, we'll talk.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, so this is going to be this gone like 10 minutes over what I thought it'd be, but that's fine. So
but enjoy that. That's some extra credit.
So you know what? And even these things are not like fully done. These topics. So I'm sure they'll come up more, and when they do, we'll talk about it.
We'll bring it back full circle. Full circle, baby.
Yeah. No worries. All right. So again, this has been the On a Family Based podcast. My name's Jake.
I'm Dallas.
And thank you guys for listening. Drop a comment, like, subscribe, hit the bell, whatever, all the stuff that people say. Do all that stuff. Help us out.
R.I.P. Jonesy. Also, Venmo. We need to pay the electric bills. Let's go. Keep bringing you the goods.
Cash App. Hit me up.
Cash App's fine too.
I am. Yeah. All right. So we'll see you guys next week. Next week, we'll talk about our personal home run derby contest. So watch for that.
Let's go.
So we'll see you guys then.
See you.